We say what they can't radio.
Hello, and welcome back to the Melanated universe.
You and I verse.
Yes, you and I verse. I'm Chanel, and this is
Dwayne.
And we are husband and wife.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know.
Are we? Yeah, I'm playing. We are.
We better be. At least that's what my paperwork say.
Hey. It's only real if she can take half.
And that I can do.
Yes, sir.
But what's yours is mine anyway.
Correct.
And what's mine is still mine.
Yep. I let her believe that. You just smile and be like, yup. I'm going to steal the cookies.
Let's talk about our weekend so far.
Why not? It was busy.
Yeah.
I'm still tired. I wanna go to sleep.
We had a great weekend. We had an awesome weekend.
Yes.
Yesterday, which was
business.
Saturday. Yeah,
yes.
Yesterday was Saturday. We when I say we, Haul That Fun, one of our companies, we hosted an event, a birthday party.
Yes.
It was for little baby Faith. She turned 1 year old. Shout out to baby Faith. And it was Ankara. Am I saying it right? It was an African theme. Accra? Ankara.
Oh man, you messing me up, man.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was like a tribal theme. So like the kids had to come dressed in like that tribal wear.
Yes.
I'm not even gonna try to butcher the name. And it was hosted by her parents. Her mom, I know her mom personally. Her social media name is Liz the International Diva. She's a MC. So, hit her up for any of your events. If you're looking for an MC, she's really dope. She also has a show called Mama Sade, where she do like these little skits from her African culture. It's really funny. I follow her on Facebook and Instagram. But the birthday party was awesome,
Shout out to her husband. Very nice guy.
Yes. Her family was amazing. The food was great.
Yes.
All that fun. We provided the entertainment. So we set up like a gaming station. We had face painting. We had like a little baby, what was that, bounce house?
Yes.
Or
Trampoline,
a ball
like a
pit.
trampoline.
Yeah, like the kids had such a good time. She had a scavenger hunt. And the kids won money. I was like, "Ooh, can I play?"
I ain't gonna lie, I like that. I like that game with the money taped under the chairs.
Yeah, that was really cute. Like they had so many activities for the kids that day. Yesterday, it was awesome. And simultaneously, we also had our open play yesterday.
Yes.
We had that in Brooklyn, and that was a great turnout as well. So if you missed yesterday's open play, our next one is going to be Saturday, March 23rd, from 1 to 5. And children ages 13 and under are welcome to attend. We had a bounce house, laser tag, we had a pizza party, so we had such a good response yesterday that we're actually going to do it again on the 23rd. So if you missed it yesterday, you can still have an opportunity to catch us on the 23rd.
Yes, indeed. And that was
it was great.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I love spending family time.
That was awesome. Like the whole family was getting it yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, we divided, we conquered, and we made some new connections and met great people in the process.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have predicted a better Saturday.
Yeah. Shout out to the family business. We had some of our family members running the Brooklyn open play while you and I did the birthday party.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was cool. It was really nice. We had an awesome weekend, spending it with friends and family. And
let's not forget too. Shout out. I love to shout out people when we see you practicing what we preach in terms of building up the Black community economically. And when I see Black entrepreneurs supporting other Black entrepreneurs,
yes.
it gives me such a warm feeling. So at this birthday party from one Black entrepreneur,
I guess who showed up?
Guess who showed up? Another Black entrepreneur.
Laces Inc.
Laces Inc.
Yes, also known as Motivators Inc.
Motivators Inc.
Yeah, she has two businesses.
Yes, she showed up, and I loved. I mean, I've seen Liz at some of her events, and and we bump into each other. The community is so small that we start bumping into each other at different events.
Yes.
But support Black business.
Yeah, and check out Motivators Inc. She has an event coming up April 21st for the kids. It's an Easter event. So, check out her page on Instagram. She has a dope Easter event for the kids. So, bring them out and the whole family can have a great time. Lots of games and food and you name it, she's going to have it.
Yes, indeed. All right. So, like we said before, we hope you had an awesome weekend.
Yes.
I know it's been a while. Last week.
Oh, wait. Almost forgot to mention, I got a prenatal massage this weekend, too.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I got to mention my prenatal massage. It was so good.
So what? My massages ain't good?
I love your massages.
Get your hands
your
off me.
massages are
See, you see how hyped she was?
awesome.
When I give a massage and my hands is all sore and hurting, right? I get, thank you, that was nice. She
No,
go
I
get
cooked
the
your
prenatal
meal
massage,
afterwards.
and now she come home like, oh my God, the sky is so beautiful, and I'm floating on it. See?
You know why
You
that
see?
is? I love your massages, but I didn't have to worry about her complaining her hands was hurting her. Oh,
And
my
then it was
hands
a
hurt, I need
her.
to stop.
You killing me, man. You killing me.
Like a full hour. She did from head to toe.
I'm gonna
literally.
I'm gonna walk on your back next time.
Like
don't
she
worry.
she did everything. It was
Mhm.
it was everything and everything.
Where'd you get it at?
Natural Balance. It was at Natural Balance
Okay.
in Brooklyn.
Prenatal massage. It's hard
Yeah.
to find those.
Yeah, but they were really good. They even have like this wedge that they make you lay on so that I'm not laying flat.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I need to get this for the house. Like, it was really good. And then the table, it has a hole for where your stomach goes. So like,
Sorry, but
so
I'm
like
just
my
trying to
belly was like
visualize.
hanging through the hole. But it was cool because I was able to lay on my stomach for the first time in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was great. I'm still smiling. I'm gonna go get me those more often. Because I care about you so much, I want to make sure I give your hands a break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah. That's what that is.
I'm gonna cut a hole in your side of the bed so your belly's comfortable.
And then you can give me an hour-long massage. Cool. I love it.
I walk on your back. Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, so that was our weekend. We spent a lot of family time this weekend.
Seriously, I'm glad she got the massage though, because she be complaining about the back is hurting,
course.
and hey, as a man, we can't really identify with the whole pregnancy journey, but we can help out where we can help out. So I'll treat her to a massage since my massages ain't popping. So
I never said that. That your words, not mine. I never said it wasn't popping.
All right. So that's what it is for the weekend. And
Yes.
for this week, same challenge. Go out there at least one time in the whole week and just say that you supported a black business at
Yes.
least one time.
Right, correct.
All right. Anything else for the weekend?
Lots of things, but that was pretty much the highlight of the weekend that I just wanted to share with the audience.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
my mom came back from Barbados vacation, and I got some treats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got some treats. I'm not telling y'all because then y'all gonna be hitting me up. So I just got some treats. Okay. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for my treats, my goodie bag. All right.
Our goodie bag. What's yours is mine. Remember?
Sometimes, like, but I love it though. I love it. So, all right. So now let's move on from the weekend. Let's get ready to talk about it. We previewed you online. We let you know what we're gonna talk about today.
Yes.
And today, a very important discussion: the Momo challenge.
Yes.
The Momo challenge. All right. I don't know how many of you have heard of the Momo challenge. But I heard about it. I became aware of it, I'd say about a month ago, like right before it really exploded in the news and stuff, right? And I was disturbed because the one that I saw was it was giving instructions to kids. It was embedded in the Momo is it's this character. It looks like a weird looking female with big eyes and a scary looking mouth, right? And it talks to your kids. But where does it talk to your kids? It talks to your kids on YouTube for Kids videos that most parents, like me and my wife, thought were safe for children.
Correct. Kid friendly.
We thought they were kid friendly and we could allow them to watch YouTube for Kids. Lo and behold, this is where these people embedded this character inside of the videos.
Right.
And usually a little bit after the beginning, because, you know, as parents, you put them in front of the video. You might watch a little bit, but you're definitely not going to watch all the way to the last one most times, right? To the last, last second. And these videos are embedded inside of those videos. And this one was telling the children, for attention, cut your wrist sideways. And for results, cut it long ways, right? And I was horrified. I was like, who the hell would do something like that? Like, and I'm like, wow, this must be something new. And me and my wife, we asked both of our kids about it, our 14-year-old and our 11-year-old, and they both knew about this character. And the look on my daughter's face,
she didn't want to tell me right away.
Was like,
she didn't want to talk about it.
She was very concerned, like whoa, like I want to say nervous.
And I asked her,
right? And we that's not a reaction we usually get from our kids, right? So my wife would tell you what happened when she asked her.
Yeah, I asked her about it, and she was just like, she just froze, and she's like, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, why not? And she was like, because it's too scary. And I'm like, well, what is it? So then she's like, oh, it's this woman, and she looks really scary, and she tells you, she'll text you on WhatsApp and tell you to do like these different challenges. And I'm like, she's texting you on WhatsApp.
Texting your children on WhatsApp.
How does she get your number? So she's like, it starts off with like little innocent challenges at first. And then I guess once she gets your number, then the challenges kind of like pick up and it become more deadly and dangerous. So, I was very concerned about that. So I was like, okay. And immediately, I called, my husband, and I was like, hey, have you heard about this? And we had a family meeting where we discussed it, because it's funny because we don't generally keep secrets.
Right.
Like they told me about Slenderman,
right,
which is like some other character, not like Momo, but it's another like scary character in like one of their games or whatever. I'm not even really sure.
Now, the dangerous part about this character is that it psychologically attacks the children, right? It tells the children that if they tell their parents about Momo, it'll come into their homes and kill the whole family, kill the kids, kill the parents. And very gruesome and graphic details, right? Now, how is a child's mind supposed to process this, right? They're alone on a site that their parents trusted, and a character is making threats. They don't have most kids don't have the mental development to say, hey, all right, this is just something that I'm looking at, and I'm going to go tell my parents. They believe it. It's real to them.
But I'm still concerned about that because we're very open at home.
Correct.
And, we encourage the kids to talk to us about everything, which they usually do. We even let them know that, like, we're, like, their clique. And if anything ever happens, that they can come to us. So the fact that they didn't, like, I'm concerned about that because they usually don't.
And our kids, like the missus says, are open because they are. We've indoctrinated them to understand that, listen, you can always come talk to us first. This is your first line of security. No matter what, we got your back. There's nobody else that can do something that we can't handle. You understand? So come and let us know. Come and let us know everything. Come and let us know. If they make threats, come and let us know anyway, and I'll go deal with it. But I found a video. On YouTube, and it was by the Sun News, and before I play the video, I just want to talk about the video and really, I'm almost disgusted with the video and how they're presenting it, right? Because I think this is a much bigger issue than I don't think this is just some sick individual out here, When I see the media trying to dispel the whole Momo thing, now that it has made its way off of YouTube for kids and onto YouTube, and the adults are watching now they're trying to sweep it under the rug, right? And just listen to this clip from the Sun News talking about why Momo is now gone.
As you've probably already heard, Momo is a terrifying suicide challenge game that has been linked to the death of a 12-year-old girl. Images of the scary-looking monster are spliced into seemingly innocent videos such as Peppa Pig, sparking concern amongst parents worldwide.
Ooh, a wasp!
The Sun has managed to track down Momo's creator to get to the bottom of the suicide challenge. Our search took us to Tokyo to meet an artist named Kasuki Iso, a horror effects artist and author of the book Grotesque Girls.
About the mother bird. I made it about 3 years ago to have it exhibited at a gallery. I had to destroy the piece because it was getting rotten, so I disassembled it and got rid of it.
The only part of Momo that remains is an eyeball.
I got rid of Momo, so it is no longer here with me. I believe it no longer exists in this world.
So there you have it, from the maker of Momo himself. Momo is gone, and it was only a silly model to begin with. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video.
All right. I didn't even want to make it all the way through because I started to get so upset behind the presentation, right? Now, this reporter started the video off by saying that Momo was a suicide challenge directly linked to the death of a 12-year-old girl.
Right.
That's what we started with, right? How is the problem resolved? Which is implied at the end of the video. There you go. Momo's gone because the original creator said he destroyed the original creation.
So the issue that I have with the video is that my take from the video is that he said he created this 3 years ago and then he destroyed it because it started to rot.
Right.
He dismantled it, was his exact words. So it sounds like he got rid of it and then someone else probably went dumpster diving, found it, and then started to create these videos that we see now on YouTube, where they're inserting these images in there. So if he's saying that he got rid of it years ago, why are we not discussing the second hand that touched this Momo doll?
Well, I actually don't even want to. Me personally, I don't get distracted by the video because the video is a distraction. Believe it or not, it's a distraction. It doesn't matter if he created it and destroyed it. None of that is relevant to the beginning of the video. The beginning of the video states that it's a suicide challenge that, I want to quote it, that's directly linked to the death of a 12-year-old girl. And not only just that 12-year-old girl, I've heard of other children that have died from this Momo challenge. And they just don't tell you on the news that is what it was from. But
yeah, we actually know of a family personally whose, I believe, 9-year-old daughter committed suicide last month. And come to find out, it was linked to this Momo challenge.
So this is a serious issue people talk to. We have to talk to our kids. It is life and death serious.
Right.
You understand? That we have to have these conversations with our kids. Well, what kind of conversations? Well, look at me and Chanel. We didn't really know. We've never been confronted with a situation like this.
Right.
Right? Because I was extremely bothered that they knew about it before I did. Mm-hmm. So much so that they were concerned and hadn't told me. That was disturbing, right? And I could see where something like this, if left unchecked, could develop into something terrible. What if you don't communicate with your children as often as we do? And they feel like they really believe this thing.
Correct.
What if there's added pressures because they may already be experiencing some form of bullying at school? You understand? And this compounds on top of that now. You understand? It's because they're more susceptible to being bullied. So, because they've been bullied before. So, this is serious. Well, me and Chanel were talking about options. What are some of the options that we can do to keep our kids safe? Because there's no 100% foolproof way to always monitor everything, right? But there are some tools out there for those that are not as technologically literate, there are tools out there that can help you with vigilance, because vigilance is the key to keeping our kids safe. And some people may throw their hands up and say, I don't have the time in the day or the energy to, but you don't have enough time to protect your kid from death. Like, you got to reprioritize, right? Because this is one of those issues, right? This is one of those times where you have to make the time. Well, I can give you a suggestion, and no, they're not paying me at all. They're not paying me at all, right? But I had to do some research in technologies that could help with this situation. And there's a website. It's called webwatcher, one word, .com. webwatcher.com. And this website will sell you software that can monitor just about any electronic device. Like, it's phones, laptops, tablets. Doesn't matter if it's Android, iPhone, the platform. It monitors everything real time. It will alert you to keywords that may pop up in your child's internet searches or on their phone, any text messages, any keywords. ASL, what does that stand for? Asex location. For those sexual predators out there, we have a lot of that going on. If you see ASL on there, then yeah, that's a red flag. And this program looks through all of it. It looks through not just text messages. It can capture if they change. Let's say your kids go on a website and they have a password and a username you don't know about. Well, this software will capture all of that information, and at any time you can log into the website and you can real time view what's going on those devices. You can even activate the GPS on them and know where your children are at any point in time. And it takes screenshots of every page that shows up on their devices, on the screen. So you get access to see many things, and you give them a little bit and you see how they respond, but they need vigilance. We need to be vigilant.
And
because
also, if you have iPhones,
yes,
I know that you can call up your cell provider and have like a tracker on your kid's phone. I actually had a coworker who had that on her son's phone. I think he was like 11 at the time, so she pretty much knew like who he was texting and things like that. And I also think that's extremely important as parents, so that we can take that necessary step to protect them from internet predators, because they do exist, and they exist in these games that they're playing.
Yes.
Like my kids are sometimes playing Roblox, and I always tell them, make sure you're not giving out any personal information up there.
There are adults in there with the kids.
Right, because I said there's people up there that will play and they'll pretend like if they're kids, but they're really adults. And they'll ask you something real simple like, oh, where do you live? Oh, me too. I live there too. And what school do you go to? What's your name? What's your birthday? What's your parents? Like all these different things. And as a kid, you're not thinking nothing of it. You're like, oh, those are my friends. No, they're not your friends. You don't even know who they are. Mm-hmm. You've never seen them before. So don't give out personal information. And I think that's how this whole Momo thing kind of slid in there. Because she's also
getting personal information. Right. She's getting phone numbers.
She has to be communicating
and
with them.
They're giving out a phone number as a challenge.
Correct.
Or they're texting something to a number as a challenge, which exposes their number now and their contact information. And now they can be back channeled through that same phone number on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So now
that's how she's communicating.
It doesn't show up on the regular text message list anymore that you could see by going to the cell phone carrier. Now it's showing up under a data something,
a different app.
Yeah, and you can't see that. You know what I mean? So, like I said, not just that one, because like I said, they're not paying me, but I'm pretty sure that if this one is like this, there's plenty more out there that can definitely help us keep our kids safe. One of the things that they talk about on this site at the bottom is suicide prevention, inappropriate behavior, cyberbullying, sexting, drug and alcohol. Like, we need, as parents in today's society, it's not like when I grew up. Like pedophilia, there's a movement pushing pedophilia in this country today. And you don't have to believe it, but it's real, okay? Because on the West Coast, they would like to add on another letter to LGBTQ They want to put P in there.
Elemental P.
So what's the P for? Well, guess what the P's for? Pedophile, pedophilia, child love. Like, we got to wake up, people.
They're trying to make it a real thing.
You got to wake up. They're coming for your children. They don't even want you to be known as, they don't even want them to be known as your children anymore. They want them to be called our children because they want say-so over your children. Not mine. You better go somewhere else with that because it ain't happening here. And this is why building communities is so important. There's other groups out here that have built communities, and inside the community preserves the culture of that community.
Correct.
You understand? And until we realize that we have to reprogram ourselves, I know it's not our fault. I know it's a system of white supremacy constantly working to program us in certain ways to despise each other. You understand? But we can choose to wake up. We can choose to consciously move towards each other, through small actions, because we have to build community, right? So that we can reinforce our norms and what we think is good for us and our children and our families, because they're not going to do it. The attack on it is full on right now. Now they're going after the babies.
To touch on what you mentioned earlier about kids who are already getting bullied might also be easy targets for this Momo challenge.
Correct.
It makes sense because if they're already suffering from low self-esteem or bullying, and this Momo challenge comes in, they might even contemplated suicide at some point.
Right.
So if this Momo challenge comes in and kind of like gives them the tools that they need to complete the task, then
correct.
What's stopping them from doing it? Like, how does a 9-year-old know how to commit suicide?
Correct.
Like, I've never heard of that before. When I was 9, I didn't even know what suicide was.
And listen, when you expose people to information, young people, old people, now they have the choice to do it. If they were never exposed to that information,
right,
then it wouldn't even occur to them. And I'm not saying that we can shield our children from information forever, but there's a time and a place. There's a saying, meat for the men and milk for the babies. I might not get that exactly correct, but what it means is that, even though meat can provide sustenance for a baby, you can't give him a piece of steak. He'll choke because he's not developed enough yet to get nutrients, and he doesn't have teeth to break down the nutrients out of that food, right? So you got to give him milk. You know what I mean? So give people, deal with people on a level that they can understand. That's pretty much what it is. Like, you don't have to get too deep, but like with your children, explain it to them in a way, talk to them in a way that they can understand. They can't understand what we understand as adults.
I was talking to my aunt, my family. It was more than just my one aunt. It was like all of us, my mother, my aunt, my sister, we all were talking. And my little cousin, she's 7, and she talks like nonstop. She's like, and her mom is like, oh my, I'm doing her hair, and her mom is like, oh my gosh, like, how do you deal with that? Like, why don't you just tell her to shut up? So I said to her, no, it's okay. I said, allow them to talk.
Correct.
When kids run their mouth 24/7, leave them.
You know what's going on.
Because at some point, they may stop talking.
And that's a problem.
And then you're going to worry. I said, when they start talking, I said, half the times, I'm not even listening to what she's saying. I said, every now and again, I'm like, and she's like, and then when one time at band camp and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but I'm listening for key words, little triggers that she might say. So she might have said something. And I'm like, wait, say that again? And then she'll repeat it. I'll have a conversation with her. And then I'll go back to tuning her out again. And I do the same thing with my own kids.
That's an interrogation technique. Let them talk.
Putting my secrets out there. I hope the kids ain't watching. But I do that with them too. When they start talking to me about Fortnite and shit and all this other stuff that I don't care about, I'm just like,
But I do care about your safety though. So I'm listening for those
and I'm
parts.
listening for key words. So when I hear something, then I'll jump in and I'll talk to them about it. But as parents, I know they can be so annoying. I get it. But you just have to allow them to speak.
Or you might have a child that's the opposite, that doesn't really talk much, that doesn't really communicate how they feel much. We got different personalities types in our family, and it might be the type of child that maybe doesn't respond well, maybe with one parent, And if you know that, then send the other parent. This is teamwork.
Right.
Like if you don't respond good to one, then we gonna good cop, bad cop. Somebody gonna get through.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're gonna try different approaches, and we're gonna find out what environments you're comfortable to talk in, and we're gonna figure that out. We're gonna speak your language.
Yeah.
Right. So that we can find out what's going on with you. Right. Because our kids are important, man. It's not the world is not as simple and safe as it used to be. Because, we had community before.
Right.
Right. And this is really what you got to see that changed. What changed is we had community. My mother knew that if I was anywhere within a 5-block radius of my house, that I was good, because there were people that were watching out for me in that radius. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So like we had community, and the community kept us safe, because if you didn't belong there, you couldn't just come through there free. Like, people in the neighborhood were going to question you. Hey, who you here for? And back then we was taught that, that was called being thug and all that. But no, that was protection of the community.
But, growing up, you're right. We played outside a lot.
Correct.
And because we played outside a lot, everybody in the neighborhood knew who you were. Now kids play on the internet. So there's no adults around. You don't have that same level of eyes around watching your kids the same way they did when you played outside.
Correct.
So because of that, these kids are in the house by themselves playing on the internet. We don't know what's going on.
Now, see, remember what I said about community, right? If you do not have a safe space for your community, you're going to lose your community. Every other group has a safe space for their community. You got Chinatown, you got Little Italy, you got all these little places. True. You got mad little places like Irish Town, but where's Blacktown?
It used to be Best Eye.
Where's Blacktown? Once upon a time, and I'm gonna show you how this works, right? Once upon a time, the closest thing that I've experienced to Blacktown was East Flatbush in like the 80s and the 90s, where a lot of Black West Indians, they came there and they started businesses. And they built houses, right? And now the dollar is cycling inside of their community more than one time, from black hand to black hand to black hand to black hand, right? So they're able to build some type of wealth and a hedge against gentrification, right? But that's changing now. We had community then. I was safe in that radius then. We don't have that now. Now we go online to establish our kids. Black kids, melanated kids, they go online, they establish community. But there's a little bit of everybody in that community. So where's their community? They're lost. There's nothing that's theirs. Everybody got a place that's theirs, and then they come online and they already know who they are and where they're from and what they stand for.
I saw this article on Facebook today that talks about Chinatown and why it's been Chinatown for so long without being infiltrated by any other culture or race. And I thought that was very interesting because they keep Chinatown. Like if you're not from Chinese or of Chinese parents,
not selling to
you're not allowed to open a business in their community. And if you do, happen to slide in and get a business, they won't support it.
So it's just
same
that
thing
easy.
with Little Italy.
It's not being hostile. It's just like, I'm not going to give you any of my money. So your business can't work. Right? So I say all that to say that, building community will keep kids safe. If kids feel a sense of strong community, like I grew up with a sense of strong community. So if anybody outside of that community threatened me, I didn't feel like, oh my God, my world's going to end. I'm like, man, look, I'm going to go back to the hood and I'm going to go tell such and such and such and such. And they're going to come back out here because they're crazy, and there was safety there. You know what I mean? But now there's no sense of safety because there's no sense of community.
And everything is on the internet.
We move so far towards an individualistic way of thinking. And realistically, if you look at the big picture, we are the only group of people that were encouraged with this whole individualism, because in that individualism, you become weak. There's strength in numbers.
Divide and conquer.
All other groups, they tell us, yes, cherish your individualism. But if you look at them, they moving as collectives. But they telling you to be an individual. Well, I would too, because if we playing a sport and you playing by yourself and I'm playing with a team, then I'm going to keep telling you, it's great to play by yourself.
That's true. You
know what I mean? So I'm going to keep winning while you confused as to why you can't win, because you're playing by yourself. But I don't want to go too far left.
Just overall, when it comes to our kids and our safety, I think we just need to, like Dwayne said, go back to building stronger communities, and get them off of screen time.
Yes.
They'll kick, they'll scream, they'll fuss, but they'll get over it. We did, and we're fine. We need to get them off the electronics so much. I know it's easier to just throw them in front of it, when we're not home or whatever. But if that's the case, find after school programs to put them in where they're having face-to-face contact with
Correct.
other kids, other adults, mentoring them, Just find things for them to do on the weekends. Like we mentioned, I think last week, we talked about, finding activities for them to do on the weekend. Like, the one thing, that I notice when we do our open plays with all that fun is the kids aren't even sweating their electronics.
They don't even think about it.
They don't even remember it.
Because they're active. And I know, granted, we have an advantage. We do have an advantage. I'm not going to pretend. We own a business that specializes in children's entertainment, physical entertainment. Right? However, it's not necessary to own a business that specializes in children's physical entertainment.
Correct. Because
It's
before
about
we
the
had the business,
FaceTime. Right.
we took them places.
Correct. They were in soccer. They were in
but there's
baseball,
a lot of open play
softball,
events in general.
mixed martial arts, hockey. Hockey. Like whatever it is, our only requirement is that you do that. Our only requirement to them in terms of in terms of activities, right, is that you be a part of one. That's our requirement. You got to be a part of one, and you got to finish out at least one season.
Right.
No matter what it is.
Can't quit.
Once you commit, you got to finish out that season, even if you want to change your mind. Right? So that gives them plenty of interaction time.
Right.
Plenty socialization and interaction time. Right?
And it gives you the one-on-one time when you're commuting back and forth with them, shuttling them around to just talk to them.
Hear what they got on the brain.
Yeah.
Talk to them. I love one-on-one with my kids. That's when I get all the juicy details. Right? They'll be like, yeah. And daddy.
That is true.
Yesterday, when mommy told you that we came straight home, we really stopped at Popeyes and got 3 meals, but we had to eat them fast before you could find out.
Now,
Look.
that's an exaggeration.
Look.
Okay.
Look. So then everybody come home, right? And nobody say nothing. Maybe like a day or two later, I ain't gonna tell her which one. I get my one off to themselves. Anything happened lately I should know about? Well, and then the beans come out, right? And the beans come in, like, but don't tell mommy that I told you. Right? So, one-on-one time.
Yeah.
That's why it's also important that,
we try
There's
to create,
balance.
we try to create a safe space for them. Like I'll just be in my room sometimes, and our eldest son, he's 14. He'll just come in the room. He's already exhibiting signs of a man. Most men, you guys don't talk, but you'll just be there in the room, and that's his way of like spending time with me.
That's talking.
So like he'll come in the room
in man language,
and I'll be like watching TV or doing work on my phone or the laptop or whatever, and he'll just come in, and I'm like, oh, you coming to hang out? And he's like, yeah. Never speaks a word after that. He'll be in his own space. I'll be in my own space, and I've learned that that's the best way to communicate with him. Before I'll be like trying to like have a conversation with him, and it's like pulling teeth, and then I finally realized like, no, the best way to communicate with him is to just be still, just being there in the room with him, and he'll spend hours. And when he's done, he's like, all right. I'm like, all right, good spending time with you. And then he's gone, and now our daughter does the same thing. Like she'll talk a little bit more, but she'll come in the room. She'll just chill. She'll be on her phone, watching her shows or playing her games or whatever. And she won't really say much. And then when they feel like it, they'll tell me stuff. And I'm like, really? We'll talk about it, whatever. But for the most part, I'm learning how to communicate with them. And it's not all about what I have to say. It's about what they have to say.
You see, the key, and one of the things Chanel said, right? And I think it's important for us as adults and parents to understand this, right? It's okay for us to learn from our kids.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people, especially from like my background is West Indian, there's this age respect thing in the culture, right? So it's like kids were supposed to be seen and not heard.
Right.
And people that are older than you, they think that, you know, you don't really have much of value to contribute.
Correct.
Right. That's not the most effective way of thinking, right? Or
It's not
raising a
accurate.
kid, because a child. We allow our children to express. We want you to express what you're thinking, but it doesn't mean that we just want you to just be wild disrespectful. There, you know, there's still respect there,
Right.
but we want you to feel comfortable speaking with your voice. You
Right.
understand what I mean? And we like to empower them. So when they go out there against the world, they don't feel like they should be intimidated. Like, I have a voice. This is my voice. My voice is worthy to be heard. Like,
Right.
I am somebody. I hated saying that, but I had to say it. Like, they know that they are somebody, right? And that starts with the home. You know, they can throw any challenge out there. It means nothing if we are already prepared. And we already have dynamics in place so that our children feel comfortable if they enter into a situation that they feel uncomfortable with, they feel comfortable telling us about.
Right.
Because they know we are here to guide them and mentor them. Like, why hasn't there been an investigation into this?
Well, before you go there, I
Yeah.
wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying about learning from kids. Like, and it goes for any child, not just the child you raise in your house.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I took the kids out one day, and I also took my little cousin with us. And she did something at the end of the night that I felt was very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was talking to her and she wouldn't answer me. And as a parent, as an adult, if you're talking to a child, they don't answer you. Like, that's a form of disrespect.
Right.
You know. So I said to her, you know what? You know, like, give me back the stuff that I got for you today, you know, until you learn how to act right. So it wasn't until later on that evening when I was talking to her mother and another one of my aunts, and I was telling them what happened. And, you know, they called her out and they're asking her, like, what happened? And she's not really saying anything. And in that moment, I realized why I got so upset and triggered by the fact that she didn't answer me. I got upset because I felt like she wasn't showing me gratitude. Like, I did something nice for her and I'm asking her, like, you know, like, how did you have a good time? And she's not answering. And I was expecting her to show me gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got my feelings hurt. And in getting my feelings hurt, you know, I got upset with her. Now, granted, she was wrong and she shouldn't have ignored me. Mm-hmm. You know, if someone's speaking to you, you have to speak. But I shouldn't have reacted the way I did because of my own personal emotions. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I learned from her. I learned that I got upset because my feelings was hurt. And a lot of times as parents, when our kids do something and we react, our feelings is really hurt. And we might, like, lash out at them. But when you really think about it, you know, we're humans too. And we have feelings and we have emotions. And not because they're kids don't mean that kids still can't hurt our feelings.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, that is an amazing revelation on your part, you know, because I agree with you. I smiled when you said it because I identified when I was a teenager, I lost count how many times I went to anger management. But I needed to because eventually I finally got it, right? No one can make you mad, right? And a lot of times, and I'm going to speak from my perspective, also something I learned in anger management is not you, it's me, right? But when it comes to me getting angry, I had to learn that a lot of times when I get angry, it's not the person's action. It's not the person that I'm angry at, first off. It's not even the person's action that I'm angry at. It's that the person's action reminds me of a part of myself that I might not like.
Right.
Let that sit with you for a second. I'm serious. Let's digest that for a little bit. You know what I mean? Digest it. It might remind me of a part of me that I don't like.
Yeah.
And that's why it triggers me, the action. But it has nothing to do with the person. See, I'm triggered. I won't even say the action triggered me because that's giving power to the action, right? I had to learn all that. Like, there's no power in the action. The power is in how I choose to act.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Remember the other day when we were talking on the phone and we were having a conversation for like an hour, and I said something to you and you was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?" And I was like, "Ah!" And he was like, "Why are you getting upset?" I said, "Because you're not listening to me." He was like, remember you were like, "I am listening, but for that one moment, like I had to do something."
Correct.
So I couldn't hear you. So I'm like steaming mad. Steam is coming out my ears, right? Because I hate
Full-on
repeating
tantrum.
myself. I hate.
Full-on tantrum.
That is like my biggest pet peeve. I hate to repeat
Full-on
myself.
tantrum.
Anybody that knows me knows I hate repeating myself. So then he was like, "Well, why are you mad?" I was like, "Give me a minute." Which is growth. I'm like, "Give me a minute."
Sure is.
I was like, I
She
need to
started
calm down.
breathing.
It took me like 5 minutes, I swear to God, to calm down. But in those 5 minutes, I reflected why I got so upset. And I said to him, I said, "You know why I got so upset?" He was like, "Why?" I said, "I'm not really mad at you now that I'm thinking about it." I said, "I'm mad at myself because I can't remember what I said." I'm like, I can't remember what I said. So now that I have to repeat it, I'm frustrated because I can't remember what I said. And I think that's why I hate repeating myself, because sometimes I can't remember. So now I'm mad because I can't remember what I said. But whose fault is that? It's not your fault. But in that moment, I blame you because you made me repeat myself. Like, that's how it sounds. You make me repeat myself. Now I can't remember. So now I'm mad at you. But really, I'm mad at myself because I forgot.
I'm loving this. I am loving this. You have no
Why
idea.
you over there shaking your
Why
head?
I am,
He like,
look, this is recorded forever.
Look, he like, so the next time my wife get mad at me, I be like, "You mad at yourself because you
Look,
can't remember."
Look, you don't even understand the way my brain work right now. I'm like, oh my God, I never got to repeat that thing again. I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to just find a spot on this one particular episode.
Whatever, listen.
I'm going to hit play.
That's growth, okay?
Because she can't argue with herself. But that is growth. And
I'm working on me. I'm working on me. And I'm just like, gosh, why am I so angry? And then I thought about it. I'm like, gosh, I can't remember. That's why I'm so pissed off. So, yeah. And then once I sat there for a few minutes, then the memory started to come back on what I said. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's what I said. And then I wasn't even mad anymore because I remember what I said.
See, my thing is, I like to practice like stuff to keep me calm. I know, like, I don't want to respond. I don't have to respond. It takes two to argue, and I choose not to participate. You understand? Like, this is some things that I learned. Like, I don't want to be drawn in, so I choose not to.
Yeah.
And if you want to vent, I shouldn't take that personally. That's you trying to get through what it is you got to get through.
I'm learning.
You know?
Because, I always have a rebuttal for everything. I'm like, what? You said what? So I'm learning not to respond to everything. Not just you or just with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you generally want to, as a woman, that's me. I'm speaking for myself. Like, I generally want to have a back and forth conversation. But communication can be nonverbal. Like, me just sitting there listening to you, nodding my head as in, yes, I hear you, it can be communication. I don't have to tell you exactly what I'm thinking about what you said.
My opinion isn't always necessary.
Correct.
Or wanted. And it's only important to me. Now, if everybody in the world said that, it'll be a much better place. My opinion is not needed or wanted. And it's only important to me. Because it really is. And you can't force nobody else to value your opinion. That's a control issue. But listen, a lot of this, we went down another road, but I would like to believe that all of this is connected. Because if we let you guys see the processes that go on inside of our heads, right?
In our household.
Then maybe we can share something. We're not perfect. We're not
No.
perfect. We don't claim to be perfect. But we're growing. And to me, growth is success. No matter how small the growth is success. So we're growing. And if you can learn something through our process of growth, then you are among the small percentage of people that don't have to learn from your own mistakes.
Right.
And don't have to, bump your head pretty much to get smarter, right? You can learn from someone else's journey. And you can save yourself some steps.
Right. And the moral is that, we're not perfect.
Nope.
And, in learning that we're not perfect, we're also learning that through our kids.
Correct.
They're not perfect, and we're not trying to groom them to be perfect. So with social media, telling them that they have to be perfect, no, they don't. And then with these, these challenges and things like that out there, it's just reinforcing what social media is telling them. So as parents, it's our job to show your kids your flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Let them see you, be transparent. Let them see your weaknesses. Let them see your growth.
And I know that's scary, parents. I know it's scary. You don't want your children to know that you're not a superhero, that you didn't get everything right.
Yeah, if I did something wrong and they correct me, I'm like, you know what?
Accept
You're right.
that. Accept that. How you going to teach them to be open-minded if you're not?
Yeah.
Think about it.
I'll let them know. You're right. Thank you for telling me. I will do better next time. I'm going to work on it so that it doesn't happen again. Because how am I going to turn around and tell them to do the same thing?
Exactly.
If I'm not practicing the same thing, look at me like, Ma, you fraudulent. Shut up.
Mm-hmm. And kids are going to do what you do.
Yeah. Not what you say.
For the most part. They're going to do what you do.
And you're right. Because my kids, like, I'll do and I'll say certain things, and then I'll hear them doing it. And I'm like, where did you get that from? They're like, from you. I'm like, you did?
Because they want to be just like
They're watching us. So if
like
we're...
as parents, they want to be just like you.
If we're showing them that we're vulnerable and that we're open to change and learning and things like that, then what do you think they're going to mimic? The exact same behavior.
Correct.
And if you're showing them that you're open by coming to them and talking to them about things, then in return, they'll feel comfortable coming to you talking to them about things. So things like this Momo challenge won't sneak into your household and catch you by surprise, because then they'll be open enough to tell you because you guys have that line of communication going already.
Correct. Like I would love to think that we have groomed, we not even groomed, we've created an environment, where like Chanel said and I've said before, where our kids are so comfortable talking with us, right? Like, talk to me. Because I've been where you are. And I use analogies too. Like, now that we got kids, I love analogies. My wife will tell you I love analogies. 'Cause a lot of times people, you say it plain, they don't understand you. You put it in an analogy and the light bulb goes off, right? You know what I mean? But like I was telling my oldest son, he was resisting against something. He's 14, he's going through that teenage time. He's resisting. I know everything at 14, right? I remember being there, right? So... my youngest son now, who's a baby, 1.5, he starts walking towards the steps. And my oldest son, he's sitting there in the couch next to me. And I call my youngest son. I say, hey, get away from the steps. He still keeps going. I'm like, hey, get away from the steps. So I had to get up and go get him before he got too close to the steps, right? He started crying as I'm bringing him away from the steps. That was a teaching experience because my oldest son was watching. So I said, hey, look, what just happened? He said, I'm not going to tell you what I call him, but he was like, my youngest son, I was calling him his pet name, but that ain't for y'all. So, he said, my youngest son went to the steps, right? And he didn't want me to move him. I said, why? He said, I don't know. I said, because he think there's something fun over there because he hasn't done it yet. And he think there's an adventure over there. He goes, yeah, I can see how that works. I said, but what happens if I let him go over there? You see, he going to fall down the steps and hurt himself. I said, does he know that? He said, no. I said, do I know that? He said, yeah. And I flipped it right there. And I was like, now you see why I tell you sometimes when you get mad and you think you know everything and I'm like 3 times your age, that I might know a little bit more than you, where you might not see the danger. Can you see how that's the exact same thing? Because you know better than to go over to the step. You know that that's dangerous for him, but he doesn't. See, that's through experience. If you didn't learn through experience, you wouldn't have known that. I said, but you still learning, and I'm still learning. So there's things you're going to go through now that you think you know what's best for you, and I'm going to tell you the opposite, and you're going to feel like I'm taking your fun away just like the baby did.
Yeah.
And I saw when the light bulb went off in his head, and I was like, yes!
But he won't admit it, though.
No, he's not
his
the type.
pride won't let
he's
him
not the
admit
type
it.
to admit it to me, but his behavior will reflect it, and it has. You know what I mean? Because now he listens to me a little bit more instead of doing that teenage thing where I'm just angry. He'll contemplate now, like, okay. Maybe daddy might be schooling me to something.
How his face go again?
Yeah. He was like, all his things come together. Right? I know you watching this, you mad, but you're going to laugh when you get older, boy. Someday he going to be giving me these stories about his kids, and I'm gonna be sitting back just smiling. I think that now I understand why my mom is smiling, like allow the kids to just do crazy insanity and spoil them, because she's a grandparent. And all the times that she was telling me about this stuff and I wasn't listening as a kid, now she get to sit back and smile and watch me tell her the same things. Watch me tell them the same things she was telling me.
Yeah.
But it's all good. Look, our kids are the seeds to our community. You know what I mean? Through them, we continue to grow. We continue to replenish.
Yes.
Like that is my children are my immortality, in a sense, because I'm gonna live on through each and every one of their actions.
All four of them.
You know, and their kids' actions and the kids' actions. You know what I mean? So we definitely, since they're gonna be the root, you know what I mean, we got to put a lot of effort into strengthening them and taking care of them. You know what I mean? And grooming them just right. And not just grooming them just right, but listen, we know we're not the only ones that think like this, right? There are other people out there that are similar to us to think like this. We just don't get a lot of airplay.
Right.
We don't get the spotlight in the media because they don't want us to build strong communities, melanated communities, strong families. Like, you know, me and my wife, we've been married 16 years. You know what I mean? We've been together, 21?
Yep.
Right? So they don't want to talk about that, but we ain't special. I ain't saying that because we special. There's other ones like us out there. You know what I mean? Now, the next step now is that now that you know you're not alone, because we thought we was alone for a long time, you know what I mean? Come together. And when these families start coming together with similar ideas, similar goals, similar principles, similar beliefs, community starts to form. You know what I mean? And when we build that community, then we have a base of power from there that we can do a whole bunch of other things.
Well,
right?
Since we're talking about community, right? Before we leave, let's just mention our marketplace.
Yes.
So that the audience is aware of the community that we're forming.
Okay. For all you listeners out there, to Melanated, to you and our verse, we want you to know that there is a affiliated group on Facebook, and it's called Melanated Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to join. It's a closed group for melanated people to come and market their products, services, or even buy and support other Black entrepreneurs.
Correct.
Like I said, feel free to join the group. Even if you have questions, it's not just limited to buying and selling.
Mm-hmm.
It's also there are also discussions in there available. The people and members of the group, and myself, the moderator, my wife, we will directly answer questions. People call in with questions. I mean, type in posts with questions where they want to know, hey, how do I get a business started? What type of business should I get into? Hey, I'm in this type of business and I'm looking for a mentor. And then we'll go through the group, say, hey, is anyone in this particular field, there's someone looking for a mentor? You know what I mean? And maybe, them two can work something out now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe the mentor might need some help, and in exchange for his knowledge or his or her knowledge, the mentee, provides the assistance that they need, and they learn the skill or trade or the business.
Yeah. Speaking of communities, Level Up Connections. It's an event space in Queens. They're having a workshop March 20th from 6 to 9:30, I believe. Mm-hmm. It's for up-and-coming entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs, or seasoned entrepreneurs to come out and just get questions answered on how to start a business, how to grow your business, how to market your business. You name it, that's what the forum is about. And that's a workshop on March 20th. It's a Wednesday, 6 to 9:30. And check out Level Up Connections on Instagram. Or if you follow me on Instagram, Chanel Hall, you'll find I posted the information of the event. You could also find it on Eventbrite. It's called Entrepreneurs on the Rise. It's a free event, so you just go on there and you can just register to reserve your seat. And come out and let's talk about it. Let's grow our community. Let's build some more melanated businesses.
Yes, indeed. Listen, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Fear is the enemy, right? If you want something different, listen, for years I worked a job. And I thought that was the only way to go. And I was all the way wrong, right? If you want different results, you got to do something different. Be vulnerable. Reach out and ask for help. You know what I mean? It's out there. When we were coming up, we couldn't find too many avenues of business owners that were willing to help us to build our businesses. They weren't interested, you know, because they looked at us as competition.
Correct.
You know, and we wanna offer that to you. You know, the thinking that got you to where you are, got you there. Wherever you are in life right now, your current thinking is what got you to where you are in life right now. And you may not accept that from me, but it took me a while to accept it too. The way you think now is why you are exactly where you are in life. And if you want to be in a different place in life, you're going to have to change your thinking. You might have to allow somebody else to do some of the thinking for you until you understand why it's beneficial to think like that. But it has to be a trusted person in a trusted space. Growth is the key. Yep. All right. And with that, you got anything else, Ms. Hall?
Go out there and support a Black business.
Go out there and support a Black business. Talk to your kids.
Yes.
Talk to your kids. Ask them about Momo and watch that reaction, okay?
Yes.
All right. And until next time, stay positive. In the Melanated, you and I verse.
Peace out.
1.